1977, India. Many events occur this year, like general elections, political repercussions, but the socking was Coca-Cola ban. It was the first time Coca-Cola was banned in India. But why? Who banned it? And how did it make comeback again? Let's understand all in this video. India was a British colony till 1947. In August 1947, the British Indian Empire was partitioned into the Union of India and Dominion of Pakistan. Jawaharlal Nehru was the Prime Minister at that time. In just 3 years, in 1950, Coca-Cola had already established their bottling plant in New Delhi. In 1950s and 1960s, tension between India and Pakistan were increasing. India and Pakistan have fought in numerous armed conflicts since their independence. At that time, Coca-Cola was increasing its distribution network across country. People were loving its taste, and Coca-Cola was also increasing its revenue. After gaining independence in 1947, India's first Prime Minister, Jawaharlal Nehru, was influenced by socialist ideas and implemented central planning through 5-year plans. The government controlled key industries, and there was a focus on self-reliance and reducing dependence on foreign goods. This situation also makes challenging for foreign companies, including Coca-Cola. The government's focus on promoting local industries and the regulatory framework, including import restrictions and high tariffs, impacted foreign businesses. Despite these challenges, Coca-Cola managed to maintain its presence in the Indian market during this time. In 1970s, 90% of India's villages did not have safe drinking water, whereas Coke was reached every village. George Fernandez, a prominent member of the Janata Party and the then industry minister, said this: "The government viewed the extensive reach of Coca-Cola in rural areas, juxtaposed with the lack of basic infrastructure like safe drinking water, as a symbol of misplaced priorities." In 1977, the Indian government, led by the Janata Party, introduced new regulations under the Foreign Exchange Regulation Act, FERA, aimed at reducing foreign control over the Indian economy. These regulations required foreign companies to dilute their equity in Indian operations to 40% and transfer technology and know-how to Indian partners. This means, if Coca-Cola want to stay in India, then they have to finding Indian partners who would take up the remaining 60% of the equity in the business. Not only this, they also have to transfer its technology, including potentially sensitive information such as production processes, to the Indian entity or its Indian partners. Coca-Cola, which had been operating in India since 1950, refused to comply with these regulations, specifically the requirement to share its secret formula and reduce its equity stake. As a result, Coca-Cola decided to exit the Indian market rather than adhere to the new rules. By 1991, India was facing a severe economic crisis characterized by a balance of payments crisis, high fiscal deficits, and low foreign exchange reserves. The country was on the brink of defaulting on its international obligations, and the foreign exchange reserves were barely sufficient to cover 2 weeks' worth of imports. To manage the crisis, India sought assistance from the International Monetary Fund, IMF. The IMF provided a bailout package, but it came with conditions that required India to undertake structural reforms to liberalize its economy. P.V. Narasimha Rao became the Prime Minister in June 1991. After 2 years, in 1993, the Coca-Cola Company re-entered India through its wholly owned subsidiary, Coca-Cola India Private Limited, and relaunched Coca-Cola. To quickly gain a foothold, Coca-Cola acquired Parle's popular beverage brands, including Thums Up, Limca, and Gold Spot, for around $40 million. The acquisition of Thums Up allowed Coca-Cola to immediately capture a substantial market share. However, maintaining the brand identity and managing customer loyalty was challenging, as many consumers still preferred Thums Up over Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola launched various localized advertising campaigns featuring popular Indian celebrities and tailored its marketing to resonate with Indian cultural themes. However, it took time to win over consumers who were accustomed to local brands. Today, Coca-Cola India have 7,000 Indian distributors and more than 2.2 million retailers. The Coca-Cola company's brands in India include Coca-Cola, Fanta Orange, Limca, Sprite, Thumps Up, Burn, Kinley, Maaza, Minute Maid Pulpy Orange, Minute Maid Nimbu Fresh, and the Georgia Gold range of teas and coffees, and Vitingo. Overall, Coca-Cola's focus on innovation, capacity expansion, and strategic market initiatives are expected to drive its growth trajectory in India, making it a pivotal market for the company's global growth strategy.